Hi world! You may be surprised to see my face, and perhaps slightly annoyed, but that's okay. If you don't know, I'm Gretchen. I'm the person who tickety taps at you, and this is my wonderful friend Michaela. If you follow our Bibliomancy for Beginners videos, you already know her. But she and I have a very special adventure that we are going on together. This is one of our first videos as we attempt to join Booktube. This is the Booktube Newbies Tag. And would you like to introduce yourself?
I guess. As she said, I'm Michaela. We have done book club together for several years, and that's on the internet. 3 years, yeah. I do have my own blog as well, which is called thepiedpipercalls.wordpress.com, where I talk about books as well. So if you don't know me and would like to see me talk about books as well, you can do that over on my blog too. On top of that, we're going to be doing another tag that I will be posting there, which sort of is slightly skewed more towards what I like reading than this video is, but they're both videos that are just introducing you to us and what we like to read and talk about.
Half the reason we make good conversation is because we both read very different books and therefore often fight about what actually makes a good book.
I don't know if it's a fight per se.
Alright, that's Taylor.
A+.
That's why you should tune into our Bibliomancy for Beginner episodes, because I kill our co-hosts a lot. But anyways, we have questions that we need to answer. And the first one being, why did you start this channel? The answer to that is because I like her. And also, it's a different way to talk about books. And we both have problems blogging consistently.
Yes.
So we figured that if we can make each other do it, it'll work better.
It's a way to force us to do a thing, to keep the other one on par with this thing. We're both making sure the other one's doing the thing. On top of that, I wanted to make Booktube videos. I watch Booktube videos a lot and have for years, so it was sort of me being like, you know what we should do to sort of keep ourselves together and like doing stuff? Let's do Booktube videos. So that's what we're doing now.
It's all because of her.
It's me. It's all me. You can blame me. You can praise me for my foresight, whatever it is. It's all on me. As fun as that is, I mean, it's great. I still think conversations are a little bit more interesting to watch because you get to see different opinions on the same thing.
And that, I think, actually answers, well, is my answer to the third question, which is, what are you most excited about this new channel? And that is being able to have consistent conversations with my dear friend Michaela here. We actually used to live together freshman year. We're seniors now. And we've moved to like opposite ends of campus, and so being able to discuss books, that's why we've chosen to continue our book club actually throughout this semester, because someone is graduating early and will therefore be leaving after the end of the
Who is it? They'll never know.
I've been very subtle.
You've been very subtle. For me, I guess what I'm most excited about is to, I don't know, have another sort of book club that's less long. Like, we can talk less, and we don't have to prepare as much necessarily, which I think is slightly better for me. Like, it's just a little bit less stressful. I can just read the book and enjoy it instead of having to read it and go, what am I going to talk about this on book club for an hour? Like,
and then not have to, like, figure out, well, like, what will I have to, like, defend?
Yeah. How do I defend myself on this point? Because I know that Gretchen is going to take offense to this.
For me, it's often, how am I going to bash Taylor in the head with the camera? So that's the thing about these videos as well, is I like her. And we have conversations. Taylor and I would just yell.
Fourth question is, why do you love reading? Which is a great question. I feel like that has changed across my lifetime, because I feel like when I was little, I loved reading because it let me sort of escape my life. I had it as like an escapism thing where like I could go on adventures with all of these great characters and like live outside of myself and do something fun for a change, as opposed to my normal life, which is just a small girl reading a book. Like that's not that exciting, is it? No, right? But now I think it's seeing how books are like sort of made in this way that makes you feel things. Like I really love how books are crafted and like how sneaky some authors are with like the word choice that like actually affects you so much. You're like, that one word set the tone for the rest of this chapter, and I don't know how that happened, but it happened. Whoa, that's so cool. Like, I care about it.
My dad used to read me books when he came home from work, and that was our thing.
Mm-hmm.
And he would have to read me the same book again and again and again and again until I got it. And so I actually taught myself to read through that when I was like 3. Mm-hmm. And then my grade school experience was in a Waldorf school, and Waldorf schools don't use technology at all. They teach all of their curriculum through stories, so like fairy stories, gnomes, knights, princesses, and so my entire schooling was built around, like, even teaching the alphabet, every character became like a person that had a story.
Okay.
And so really my entire life was formed by stories, and then I just kept reading and reading and reading, and that's the same. I just want to read all the time, and like all these stories, and the idea, like, I just finished a book last night, and I was just sitting there in my chair, and I was just holding it, and I was like, I don't even know how I feel, but I feel things from this like recycled bit of tree that has like letters printed on it.
Random scribbles.
Yeah, random scribbles. Like someone, like kind of like me, but a very different person came up with a story that relates to me in this way. And it's like, and I'm an English and writing double major, so like I like to read, and then I want to know how to write. So it's just like stories are literally my life. So that's I just want to read at all times, ever. So on that topic, as I'm discussing my entire childhood to you,
here's my life story.
Is what books or series got you into reading?
Mm-hmm.
And I think that my answer to that is actually pretty silly. It was, I had these collections of books that were like Disney princess stories, and those would be the ones my dad would have to read to me over and over and over again. I had my own copy of like, and not even like just Disney stories, like I had a Jungle Book, I had 101 Dalmatians, and that plus like the fairy tales, like Grimm's fairy tales are very important. I've actually been to Sleeping Beauty's castle because my family's very German, so like Disney fairy tales, and like then the actual fairy tales where like things weren't always so pretty and happy. This is like really often I'm not pretty and happy. No, and that I don't know. It's like all of the first stories I wrote were fairy tales too. So I was like fairy tales, fairy tales, fairy tales.
Fairy tales are great.
Yes. So that's me.
For me it's weird because I don't remember like a book or books being like something that stuck out to me. I mean, like I do remember when I was little switching from my dad reading Harry Potter to me reading it myself. But I feel like everybody says Harry Potter because like we're of a generation where people are like, you know what, I was like kind of okay with reading until I found Harry Potter, and then I understood what it was that books could do and create this world and stuff. Whereas I know that I read, like, while I was reading Harry Potter, I read a series of Unfortunate Events, I read Pendragon, I read, like, all of those little chapter books, like Goosebumps, and the Bailey Street School Kids, and the Boxcar Children, and Magic Treehouse, like, yeah, exactly, Animorphs, like, there's all of these, like, really small series that I remember reading and reading them all because I just consumed literature, but I can't honestly, like, pinpoint, like, yes, this book, and I was like, reading, yes. It was just, like, natural for me, I guess. Like, I just...
My big answer was fairy tales.
Yeah,
the fairy tale thing.
those happened. I guess I could... Alright, I'm gonna try and think of something. Little House in the Big Woods by Laurel Ingalls Wilder. I remember reading that and immediately wanting to go to the library to get the next book, whereas, like, most of my other series was, like, those are at the library in the school, so, like, everybody was reading them, if that makes sense. Whereas, like, I know that I specifically seeked out that book, because I think my meme gave it to me, and I read that, like, before I was in school, I think, and then I got Little House on the Prairie, and, like, all of those other books that came after it, and I even read the one that was, like, published posthumously, that was, like, unedited. There's, like, one that's her daughter published, that was, like, the last...
I never read that.
See, apparently I cared about it, because I knew these things.
I was that way. I like consume Nancy Drew books.
I read Nancy Drew, and I read the, like, 90s reboot. I don't remember what those are called, but there's, like, a blonde girl in, like, the 90s.
Trixie Belden.
Trixie
I
Belden.
have those. I have all of those, too.
See? Yeah, no. Are those
Funky detective
Encyclopedia Brown, if anybody read Encyclopedia Brown.
I did.
Yeah.
I consume those.
Great. There's all of these really great series that I feel like a lot of us read, and we, like, kind of brush under the Harry Potter rug of, like, none of those are as great as Harry Potter, and I'm like, guys.
I'm actually not really a Potterhead.
I know.
Don't kill me, please don't.
Something unique that we bring to Booktube. Not as big of a Potterhead.
No.
What is your favorite booktuber? And I'm going to start this because Gretchen doesn't really watch Booktube, but I have for a long time, and yeah, like a long time. And as of late, I really love Chauncey Boddington of the Bookish Quartet. She's so smart, and like I wish to emulate her and like how I read and talk about books. I also really love Candace at Librarian Fan Mail. I kind of stole her haircut, and I blogged about that recently, and she replied to my blog talking about how hilarious that was because it's her mom that cuts her hair. So like I went to a salon and said, I want this with a picture of her, and like it's her mom that cuts her hair, which she found hilarious that I went to like a salon for that, which is great. I really love Candace. There's a lot. If you go to my YouTube page, on the sidebar, I have a thing that says beautiful booktubers, and it's a list of like all of the booktubers that I think do really thoughtful and like thought-provoking book reviews. Better Than Food book reviews is new, and he makes me want to read so many books. He's so good at what he does. Like I can't. So good. There's a list. There's like 20 of them. I can't talk about all of them, from YA to science fiction and fantasy to like lit stuff, like high lit stuff, to talking about the homoerotic, not even undertones, the homoerotic tones of Moby Dick. So those are not undertones. Those are just they're just on the surface.
Yeah. My Booktube experience mostly comes from Michaela going, you should watch this video, and so I don't consume like a person's. I consume videos that Michaela is like, you should watch this, and also anything that I follow. I am a big part of the blogging community. As not say, my blog has been in operation for 6 or 7 years now. I'm honestly not sure exactly the number, but so I follow a lot of blogs and I read a lot of reviews. But yes, the actual video bit is new to me. So my favorite booktuber is Michaela.
Aw, sweet. I'm having issues. It's not scrolling the way I want it to.
What challenges do you think starting a Booktube channel will be the hardest to overcome? Is the 7th question, and I think we've already kind of addressed that. It's the fact that both of us are not very social people. We have to make sure we both got involved in this. We can make sure to do it the first bit, and then secondly, we both also are kind of like, we're just kind of talking to the void, and makes us kind of socially anxious.
Yeah.
Like, well,
I guess somebody read that, they liked it.
So overcoming ourselves is probably hard.
Sitting down and doing the thing as well, like forcing, like we'll both be like, we can just do it next week. Like we're huge procrastinators. We'll just do it next week. Just next week, 3 months later. Oh man, I haven't written a blog post in like a year. When did that happen? Goodness. Biggest challenge. You already answered this question, because question number 8 is, when did you start reading?
Oh, I wasn't even like reading, apparently. I wasn't reading.
She wasn't reading. I never read. I was 3. Gretchen was 3. I am not certain. I know that I knew how to read before going to preschool, which was when 5 we go to preschool and 6 is first grade. So I knew that it was weird because nobody else knew how to read when I was at preschool. So
Same.
Probably about the same age as Gretchen, like 3, 4. I learned how to read on my own. But
I actually got a group of kindergartners to myself that I read to because the teachers were like, I grew up in a one-room schoolhouse with like 3 grades in it. So they were like, we'll just give these younger kids to Gretchen because Gretchen can read to them. That's probably why I also want to be a teacher.
One of my favorite things is first grade. We had to read one of those little like cardboard book with paper.
Lord.
Like the first time those like switched from just cardboard pages to like paper pages inside really thick cardboard. But the girl I was with kept reading Banana, like with way more A-N-A-N-A-A's, like banana. And I'm like, do you not know that banana is just banana? Or are you not, like, registering that that's what that word is? Like, I was, like, sitting there and, like, actually, like, slightly confused of whether she was reading it properly or not, because she kept adding na-na-na-na to the end of it.
Like, all those words that you think you know how to pronounce because you've read them, but you've never actually said them for another human being.
Yeah, it was kind of weird. But, yeah, so pretty early, like, reading very early on. My mom taught me how to read with a whiteboard and letters. Gretchen? Where do you like to read?
Somewhere quiet where you aren't being aggressive at me.
Sorry.
No, but actually, I'm one of those people that can't do homework, can't read. I need, like, quiet. I don't like reading in public spaces. Like, I know a bunch of friends that, like, do their homework or read at cafes, and that bugs the crap out of me. Because I can't do it. I need to be, like, totally engrossed in what I'm reading. So I tend to read in my room or somewhere I know that's quiet. I live by a lake, so I might go down there and hang out. But generally, comfiest chair or my bed possible, where I know it's going to be quiet and no one will disturb me. Because disturbing me while I'm reading a book...
The Wrath of Gretchen.
It is. It's like waking the dragon. You just don't do it. So, the solitude helps me and others.
Yeah. It's really for their benefit. Not so much yours. I would say that I am the opposite, that I can read anywhere, and it used to be that I did, to the point that my teachers in high school were always like, Michaela, can you put the book down and actually pay attention to what you're supposed to be learning in class right now instead of just reading? And eventually it got to the point where, because I already knew everything that they were talking, they just let me read. Because at some point they do you're not paying attention, so come answer this question on the board, because you obviously won't be able to do it, embarrass you into paying attention thing. And I was like, the answer is 56. And they're like, well, never mind. And I just got to read in class, so I was able to do that.
My hero.
But now my anxiety is that I should be reading the stuff for class, and I don't read as much for myself anymore, because I'm like, it's a waste of my time. I have to invest so much time into this book that I should be reading my articles or my book reviews or whatever that I need for class, and not doing this, which means that I just don't read as often as I would like, but I do read wherever. Like, one of the last books I remember reading was The Wise Man's Fear, and I read it, like, on one of the couches in Texter Hall with, like, people walking back and forth the whole time. You would be like, nope. Whereas I'm just like, there's nobody here. I'm not even aware of you.
It's too much of, like, the people watcher in me, like that writing exercise. You have to, like, listen to dialogue and write it down. I'm always just like,
you get distracted too easily.
I'm a magpie. I'm just like, shiny!
Whereas I'm the opposite, where I get, like, way too focused and don't realize that stuff's going on around me. I was that kid who napped through, like, your mom vacuuming next to you. Like, I was just not aware of that going on. The last question was, what books do you like to read?
I like to read mostly YA with a good chunk of postmodern wacko in there. I really... YA is my life, and I mean, if you have followed this blog for any length of time, you'll know that I blog. I mean, I say it's a YA blog. I do read other things, but I blog about YA here. And because that's where my passion is. It's what I write, it's what I read, and I'm always on the search for the good stuff, because YA takes a lot of flack, and I'm one of those people that's like, you know what, there's really good stuff in here. That's why, like, my Worked It Wednesdays, which I do now, are all about what books, like, that I found that are really good. And, like, even I'm doing my thesis for English this year, and the entire focus is on YA literature and YA publishing, which you can now follow on my thesis Thursdays, which I have just started doing. Ooh, the first post was actually the day that we're making this video.
Ooh.
So, yeah.
Whoa, so now you know when we're filming this.
Yeah.
Not sure when it's going out, but you know when we filmed it.
Sorry, friends.
For me, what I like to read is mostly adult literature and a lot of literary fiction, like high literature. Like, I do read some fantasy and some science fiction, but I'm not wicked big into that, and it's just for different reasons. If it's very well written, I can enjoy it, but for the most part, is it ironic to say that I get bored with fantasy and science fiction?
No, because I was supposed to make this partnership perfect, because I feel the same way about realistic fiction and, like, literary contemporary. I'm just so bored. I need a dragon. Let's blow something up.
Whereas I'm, like, dissecting the way these words fit together, and it's actually hinting at this other thing later in the book, and that's so cool. And you're like, I didn't care. It was just words, like useless words.
Can you believe we're both English majors?
different in English majors, probably closer to the pretentious English major than you are, but at the same time, I'm reading contemporary literary fiction. I have the same bored feelings on most classics that she gets for contemporary literary fiction.
I mean, I think we both feel the same way with the classics, and now we agree that
who really needs to have a whole class on just Shakespeare?
no one. Unless you did what I do, is go to London and just go to the Globe.
Then it's fun, but I just had to sit at 8 in the morning with Professor Dan Breen, and no offense to Dan Breen, he's a lovely individual, but
8 in the morning.
8 in the morning.
Dan is lovely, but 8 in the morning.
No opinion. That was it. That was the 10 questions.
Yes, we did it. We made it through. High five.
That was a good high five.
It's probably because we know we're taping. Look at us being functional humans.
We did the thing.
We did the thing.
So if you would like to see us answer some more questions sort of about our literary past and like what we like to read and stuff with a slightly more adult fiction-y bend, slightly less general. And
which means that I will struggle box my way through it and attempt to be the pretentious English major.
You got this. It's in there inside you somewhere.
There's pretentiousness in here somewhere.
Stuff is there. Then you should come to my blog and see that post, or just subscribe to the YouTube channel where we will both be making appearances regularly. Also, book club is there, so yeah, obviously you should follow it already. Like, what are you doing? But yeah, we hope to be around more in person so that you can see our faces.